Welcome back to the studio, particularly to me because this is the first time I'm hanging out in here since I got back from my trip, and so I'm reunited with my book. I'm very excited, and I have this idea I've been having for a while, or had for a while, that I want to do for a Zen Tangle where I want the whole page to be a butterfly, and then the Zen tangling is like inside the different details of the butterfly itself. If that makes sense. You probably saw the cover image already, but that's what I'm deciding before I've actually seen how it turns out. So I just got sent this insane palette. Oh, it's not gonna focus, sorry about that. Look at this, handmade watercolors from Brighter Day Pigments, yellow. And it's in this really nice travel tin. Obviously gonna bring it everywhere with me now. And she's done, sorry, I don't know what my focus is doing. She's done the swatches on watercolor paper with beautiful cursive names that fit perfect into here. I'm obsessed with this yellow. Can't wait to use it. I think because we kind of moved on to like shimmery grays, I wanna do one of these two right now, probably this one. I feel like I might upset some people. The butterfly isn't gonna be in multicolor, but remember in this book, we're going through all the colors. And we'll get to multicolor one day, but it's not today. We could do another in the other book though, I guess. I kind of want one more binder clip, hold on. Thanks to whoever suggested I put this with binder clips because that really changed my life. Is this gonna go? There we go. Okay, so let's get rolling. What I'm thinking is I'm gonna do the body of the butterfly. Let's try and put that in as best we can. The body of the butterfly, and then just kind of fill it in based on vibes, and then go from there. So I'm gonna activate my paint, the little water dance, and I'm gonna start, oh dear, that was messy of me. I'm gonna start with, what is on my brush? Oh, this brush is getting a little tired and it was a loose hair. Okay, we're gonna start with the body of the butterfly. So I think I'm gonna do like this. And this is kind of gonna be an experimental one. So my focus isn't too much on consistency of the line or anything like that. It's gonna be more about the shape of what we're making here. So I'll just kind of give this a bit of a structure, and it's gonna be a nice little butterfly. I'm definitely feeling now that I'm back in LA that summer has begun. It's been quite warm here, at least the last 2 days, and now it is gray again, which I don't mind because there's gonna be plenty of sun, so it's all good. Okay, so now let's start around here. Getting these symmetrical, that was a nice swoosh, wasn't it? Isn't going to be too doable, but we're gonna try our best. So I think what I'm gonna do just to balance this out is start from the top of the bottom wing, like this. Maybe it goes to there. Again, we're just making it up, which is the best part of these paintings because we can't mess up, so we can't get angry, or we shouldn't anyway. Then now that I have the base there, I can decide exactly where this one's gonna go. So up to here, my hand is gonna lose stability if I go up further. So I've taken the brush off. I'm gonna pick it up where I'm in a better position and come round like so. That wasn't a bad connection, but I'm just gonna smooth it out a tad. Okay, I'm about it. Then let's also decide where the bottom of this one's gonna be. Maybe here, and then go like that. Well, it's down on the paper, so that is what's happening. I kind of want it to be one of those butterflies that has the cool thing that goes down. Really official language we're using here today. But you know, like these like a butterfly tonsil, and then goes back. Nice. So this is not a specific butterfly, obviously. It is a made-up butterfly, which I think it's a great exercise to just make stuff up every so often. Now, I know there's going to be a circle there, so let me just do that now before I forget. So we're just going to go around and add it there. Pretty good. So now the hard part, my hand's going to be across the page for this part, sorry. Just how the cookie crumbles when we're doing this kind of thing. The hard part is going to be getting this as symmetrical as we can. Thing is, remember, it's going to get lost as we Zen Tangle the actual shape, so it's not too much, but what I think I'm going to do is mark where these are lined up, and then I've given myself like a template, I guess, and let's do this one first. So I'm going to go like this down here, and then obviously clean it up a bit. This kind of rippling and not straightness, I really need to work on my language, is because the brush didn't have much water on it, so that's why that happened. Okay, let's look at this straight on. Okay, then we're gonna mirror this, so I'm gonna go out and around like that. Happy. And then about to here, so I'm gonna go, okay, boop. Then I reckon let's do this side. Hopefully I don't get my nice sweater in the paint. So as you know by now, this side of the book really isn't my favorite because this is in the way. So I want to get it as close to the edge as possible, and then that can just kind of be what it is. Oh, this is higher than that here. Well, maybe he's just kind of dancing. Okay, then we just need to do the tonsil. Okay, not bad. And then we'll do the circle here. Sure. Then we're gonna take this up and around, and then same thing. I'm gonna go as close to the edge as I can so I don't have to deal with that so much. I've missed working on this paper. I had my Canson sketchbook when I was gone, and I did some painting in there, but it doesn't always hit the same. Okay. Well, this is definitely an abstract butterfly. That's cool. Now we're going to do the little antenna. I'm gonna do one like this. And one maybe a little longer, just for fun. And then I kind of like these circles I've done. So I'm gonna do the same vibe at the top. This would be cool in multiple colors. I know, I know. If you really like it and want a multiple color one, let me know and maybe I will do that. Okay, so now let's decide the pattern of the wings. Are we in frame here? Yeah. I think what could be nice is like a little undulation. Cool. And I'm gonna do the same on the other side right now so that I don't get too lost in what I'm doing. You know, when you're doing a whole eyeshadow situation, it's best to do the same steps on each eye instead of doing one eye and then the other one, at least for me, because I kind of forget the steps and I'm like, oh boy, I don't know how to do that again. So we're gonna add some circles. circles. Oh my gosh, also my laptop broke when I was in London, and so I haven't been able to edit any videos for YouTube. So if you're wondering why I missed a day, I usually post on Fridays and I did not post this Friday. That's why. Oh yeah, this is definitely uneven. Look, this is 3 and that has 4. But again, at the end, it's so not gonna matter. Yeah, so my laptop's at the shop. RIP. So hopefully it comes back soon and everything is fine, but that is stressing me a little because I was really on a good schedule and now I can't quite carry that out, which is upsetting, but we'll do our best. Then I think I want to do these like petal shapes like this. The good thing about the laptop breaking, silver lining, is that it forced me to just be on vacation. And there was, actually it was working one day when I was in France and forced me to kind of do other things that weren't editing, like thinking about new concepts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm in a inspo wave. If you have new concepts you want me to try, now's a good time to let me know while I'm working on all of my new ideas. Okay, that's cool. Now, what should we do along the bottom? Definitely a circle in the tonsil. This, we're not gonna really be able to Zen Tangle, are we? Because there's not enough space. So I'm just gonna make it thick enough that it fills this area. That's a weird thickness. Not weird, but a bit awkward. Why don't we go round this and make kind of like a little border and join up again. Make a little corner. These paints smell good. And then maybe we can do some like tendrils. Like so. And then one here. And before we get too carried away, let's do that on the other side as well. So we went round this guy. Then what did we do? A little bump like this. And then we went up part way. And then our little tendrils. Oh, did you guys see that video I did with the 20 different Zen Tangle patterns to try? Like all on one page. It was either 1 or 2 videos ago. I saw a few comments that said you'd want that as a template. So I was thinking I would make that and put that on my website. You can just download it. I mean, I'll probably make it like a couple dollars just because I need to actually make it and all that kind of stuff. But would you want just the boxes so it would say circle and then you draw your own circles? Or would you want it to say circle and me have done a circle and then you do the circles around it? Let me know what you would prefer. We're then gonna do another kind of border here. Wow, if I was this butterfly in real life, I would probably not be able to fly because it's not very anatomically balanced, but I would definitely want to be purple. Okay, so now we have these sections sorted. And let's do maybe like this. Are there 3 and 3? Yes, okay. And then maybe we'll go from the second one and go in like that. And same here. So we have these little sections. Okay, so for a full zoom out, here is, oh shoot, I didn't have my focus on. I hope that was not too painful to watch. Lizzie, I really wonder about me sometimes. Okay, but It's not stressing us today. Okay, this would be kind of a cool tattoo, eh? Anyways, let's start filling in these sections. So the background is a section, of course. We have these little end bits, we have this open bit, these inside bits. I think for my inside Zen tangling, I'm gonna do the lines a little bit thinner, more like this one here, just so we can fit more, and then, I don't know, that's just what I feel like doing. Don't really have to explain everything, do I? So we're gonna just trace the line that we did as best we can, following all the contours and stuff. So another reason it doesn't matter at all that it's not perfect is because it would be a bit boring if we did the exact same thing on both sides. Like, see how this kind of goes in a bit? That makes for interesting shapes. So we can fit about one more in here, I would say. I'm gonna use the tip of my brush, then press it out a little more to use more. And then just gonna bring these down and up. Lovely. And then let's go from the top so that there's less chance of us putting our hand in wet paint as we go down the page. Is it this paint that smells good, or did I do new laundry? I don't know, something smells nice. Then this is just gonna be a circle. Then I'm gonna kind of move it down to fill in that little triangular dip. So this isn't gonna be a circle, it's gonna be more of a teardrop. And it's like, did you ever do those paintings with that invisible pen or that drawing when you were a kid and it would reveal images? We're kind of, it's almost like we're excavating away at what will be and revealing how it's gonna turn out. And so the page is invisible, right? The blank paper before we start. And so there's no predetermined, like this needs to turn out this way. And so we can just, as shapes come up that we might have not expected, we can just say, oh, that's what it's gonna be. Cool. Wasn't expecting that. There's no need to think it should be something that it just isn't. So we're gonna do the same in this little tendril. I feel like this kind of Zen tangle could be cool really large scale, or with a really tiny, hold on, teeny tiny brush, maybe like this, because then there'd be more kind of bits to work in. So maybe one day we can do that. Anyway, I've got a long list of one day we can do that, don't I? Now I'm gonna tackle this white space as one area, and it's kind of, imagine taking away this, and the circles. It's kind of a funky random shape, and we're just gonna trace the inlines of it. So to explain that best, I think I'm gonna start right here, and we're gonna follow the shape of this tendril all the way down the other side as well, as far as it will go. Maybe about there. And then it would go down and it would come back up. And so we're gonna get the come back up. Can it fit through there? I think not. So instead it would go round this shape. Up here. That one it could go through. I actually don't know yet, so let's go this way. Whenever I get back home to LA, I either immediately want tacos or Indian food. And so I just ordered Indian food when I came back. And I like to, the next day, make eggs fried in the sauce. I got tikka masala, obviously. And so I'm gonna make some tikka masala eggs. And then I went to the farmer's market the other day and got this really nice cranberry wheat ancient grain kind of bread. And so I'm gonna put it on that. Not sure how the cranberries and the tikka masala are gonna taste, but it can't be bad. Like, both those things are good. So that's gonna be my meal after this. Can't wait. I think we can go through here. Yep, we're going. That's nice, I like that. Okay, so now that we've done one layer of this, we have a much smaller space in the center and then these little negative spaces. So I think let's do this big one first. And now you can kind of get an idea of what I'm thinking this piece will look like, where obviously there's the essence of the butterfly, but it's really just a lot of lines going in a bunch of different directions. So the butterfly shape was like our template to then start uncovering the pattern of the page. It's also kind of like if you're making a sculpture out of marble or something, which, you know, we've all done. Just kidding, obviously never done that, but that would be cool to do one day. Anyway, there's the block of marble, and then as you chip away, you're just revealing what it's going to become. And so this is very similarly how I think of this. Cool. Are these lines even thinner? I can't really tell. But I love this paint so far. I don't know if you can see from up there, but it's really sparkly. I have a really good sparkly paint collection now. Okay, then we're gonna connect these. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you about my trip. Well, now that I'm back home, I can say where I went and stuff. I started in San Francisco because I had a wedding in Sea Ranch. You might have seen the cards I made for the wedding on I did a video on them. That's a good watch, if I may say so myself, if you need some little visual sanctuary. So I went to those two weddings where I made the cards for on this trip. So anyways, the wedding number one was in Sea Ranch in NorCal, which was stunning. It was totally Big Little Lies vibes. As we were driving up there, we played the theme song for a bit, and it was fun. Well, there we go. That's filled in, and now we're gonna move up here. And I haven't spent much time in San Francisco. I'd only been there once before, and it was for a weekend for work, so I didn't do too much. And I have some friends who live there, so wanted to go see them and stuff while I was there. So I went a few days early and just hung out in San Francisco. And that was really fun. I kind of just like worked and did my usual routine, but in a new place, which is always a bit fun. And I tried lots of different foods and just explored the city, did a lot of walking around. And when I do these big trips, the way I think about it is I am leaving the house, like on a plane, may as well go for a while, right? So I just stack the places I want to go and just treat it like a big excursion. So this was the first step of my excursion, and I treat it like a inspiration hunt. So now that I have come back, I feel hella inspired, and I have all these really cool new photos I can work from. I love to paint from my photos and my personal bodies of work. And then also, I guess, like, it inspires everything I do, really, but I find I love to work from my own reference imagery of just like stuff I've stumbled across in life. So I have loads of new ones. I can't wait to just kind of work on those. I think these next 2 weeks, I'm just gonna basically stay in the studio and make stuff, and I'm very excited for that. I'll take you along if you would like that. I can go a little further down here. So anyways, yeah, sorry. San Francisco, had a great time. I stayed at my friend's apartment, and it was the coolest apartment ever. It was like, you could see a lot of the city from there, and it was so cute. And he actually has some of my art in there, so I got to be reunited with it, which was lovely. And that was fun. He unfortunately was not there, so I didn't get to see him, but he very generously let me stay in the apartment. Woo. So yeah, I saw some friends, did some things. I went to the SF MoMA, which was really cool. I saw this exhibition I loved that I forget what it was called, but I posted about it on Instagram. And yeah, that was great. Anyways, then I was there like 3 days. Then I went to Sea Ranch, and so that was about a 3-hour drive from the city. Then I went up with a friend. Beautiful views. It was like, I thought it might be kind of highway all the way up there, but once we got out of San Francisco, it was mostly country roads to get up there, and it was just so cool. I love exploring new places, and I'd never been that way. Also, if you're wondering why there's purple on my hand, I am too. I must have had an exploded pen. I was writing in purple this morning. Is that gonna get one? Yep, it is. Okay, so see how this is all just kind of some funky pattern? I'm into that. Let's go closer for the next one, shall we? Hopefully my hand stays out the way. Maybe this will be a good angle for it. So the wedding was in Sea Ranch, which was so cool. It was a little chilly up there, but it was great vibes, so it didn't really matter. And the whole town has this ordinance to kind of look a certain way, and so all the buildings were the same style, and it was really cool. And the wedding was it was just stunning. It was so much fun. It was like the perfect number of people. The food was so good. Everything was beautiful. I met some people I liked so much. I got to see my friend who was getting married, who I hadn't seen in so long, finally meet her fiance, and I had the best time. We stayed in the cutest Airbnb, which it was like very au naturel, and it had I could see animals, deer and stuff from my window from the balcony. Am I okay? From the patio when I journaled in the morning. And it had a hot tub, and every night, which was 2 nights after wedding festivities, we'd get in the hot tub and just debrief about the day, and it was such a lovely routine that I miss a lot. This looks a little dangerous to try and go through, so we're actually going to curve around and go this way. And what else can I tell you? It was just beautiful. Yeah, just soaking in all the vibes. Then I drove back, I did not drive, my friend drove back down to San Francisco, about 3 hours. And oh my God, the worst thing ever happened. We went to this really cool bakery in town for breakfast on the Saturday. And they had a passion fruit cheesecake I can't go through there, so I'm gonna go up and then come back down and kind of carry this line around and emerge over here again, and then go around from there, if you're wondering my path. So went for breakfast. I got the big boy breakfast, which is like eggs, breakfast potatoes, all these beautiful things, and they had all these really nice pastries, and I love a local pastry. And they had a passion fruit cheesecake. I love passion fruit, so we had to get that, and we were like, oh, perfect. We had such a big breakfast. We're like, we'll come back from the wedding tonight and really want that passion fruit cheesecake, so we just put it in the fridge. Long story short, we were driving away from the wedding, and I realized I left it in the fridge. I didn't even get to eat it. Heartbroken I was. So I'm yet to eat a passion fruit cheesecake, but that happened. Let's see the best way to do this. Also, notice how I'm moving my paper around a lot. That's because I'm trying to get the best angle. I have an angle that my hand really favors, I guess. And it doesn't matter what's up or down because it's just about the lines. So that's why that's happening. That's nice. Now we can fill in all these bits. So yeah, and then we were debating, should we sprint back to the Airbnb, get the pastry so we can eat it on this 3-hour journey? And we decided not to, which was a good shout because there ended up being traffic and I could not miss my flight. Also on the way up, there wasn't much service for a while and I didn't have too many playlists downloaded, but what I did have was a Disney Channel era playlist, like all the good Hannah Montana songs and stuff, so we listened to that for a while, which was honestly great. I hadn't done that in a bit. So anyways, drive back down to San Francisco, go directly to the airport, and then I flew to London. I had 3 seats to myself, which was nice. It wasn't very full flight. And then I had about 10 days in London, and I saw loads of my friends, and I kind of tried to stay in my routine as best I can as well. This is gonna be a bit of a tricky one because this is in the way. I'm gonna just press down on it like that. Is this focused? And I grew up in London, so I love going back there and just seeing what's changed, seeing what's the same. It's also such a big city that there's just so many different things to do, and so I always feel like I just scratch the surface each time, but it's kind of like if you think you're going to be able to do everything, you're just gonna end up upsetting yourself because you won't. So I was just kind of like, whatever I do this time is what I do this time. I'll be back. And so that was a nice mindset to have during, oh, we have this little bit there too. And yeah, I basically just saw loads of friends, and I was really in a park vibe. I just love how they have parks there. We don't really have that in LA in the same way. And so I spent a lot of time in there. I went to a bunch of different parks, had a lot of my days were just like going on a walk, getting a coffee, getting another coffee, seeing something, you know, the Joe. My favorite kind of day. Oh, this one has a little bit too. And got so much inspo there. I really love the architecture of London. I also, you know, my I Spies that I do, collected intel for a London I Spy, which I'm gonna be starting soon. I wanna finish my phone one first. So that's if you saw the BlackBerry video, that's part of my phone I Spy. It's all like 2000s phones. And I'll probably work on that a bit this afternoon, actually. Boop. So yeah, obviously I had to go try all the coffees and see which ones would make the cut for my I Spy, of course. So that was happening a lot. And it was just so nice to see my friends, and I stayed with my cousin who I love, and I don't get to see her too much, so we had a great time. Well, at least I did. Hope she did. No, I think. She showed me her neighborhood, and I used to play netball in that neighborhood, kinda, so it was cool to go back. Let's see the best way to film. Can you see if I do this? I hope so. Good thing about having all these angles is if my hand is in the way, it's not gonna stay that way for too long, because then we're gonna get to a new angle. So anyways, had a lovely time. The first week was a bit dreary. Also, packing for this trip was a bit crazy. Can you imagine? I had NorCal, which was cold. I had multiple weddings, which is like 4 different nice dresses. So I had coat, I had sweater, and then I'm going to Spain and the south of France after this. So I have hot weather clothes, bikinis. For once in my life, actually, and I'm not happy about this, I underpacked on bikinis, which I never usually do. I usually overpack on bikinis, which I don't think is a bad thing, because if I'm gonna wear something on vacation, it's probably just a bikini. I could sit by the pool all day, which I did a few days. And I wish I'd brought more bikinis. Anyway, time to remedy that later. Let's get this shape filled in. I'm just using the tip of my brush and kind of just like flicking it really lightly, which is a bit dangerous because you don't have much control when you do that, but it does seem we stayed in the line, so that's good. But if you put too much pressure, you're gonna get too much of the bristle, and then it's gonna be too thick of a line. So sometimes that's just what you gotta do. Boop. What else can I tell you about London? It was really just like a seeing people and exploring trip. Got lots of steps in. I saw friends I hadn't seen in ages, and it was honestly so much fun. It was just very, very chilled. I don't think I went out at all. Did I? aside from like to the pub, I don't think I did. And of course I packed multiple going out outfits and then didn't, but you know, whatever. This kind of looks like a little bat wing or something. That's cute how that's developed. Then I went to Mallorca for Allison and Matt's wedding, and I left on the Thursday, got there Thursday night. One of my best friends, who I hadn't seen since 2022, also got there that day. We got there a day early, and we hung out that night, and we just kind of word vomited to each other until we literally just fell asleep. And that was so fun, and I hung out with her a lot of the time. And Mallorca was so cool. I'd never been there before, and it was just so beautiful. I feel like if I could summarize my trip, I'd say it was all so beautiful, but I don't know, that's the perspective I chose to have. Life is an open hand, not a fist. It's one of my favorite phrases. How does that look? That's nice. Should we do this side first? I guess so. This is gonna be interesting because I'm probably not gonna be able to fit much in here, so we'll just figure this out together, I guess. Yeah, I'm just gonna do one line and then kind of thicken or thin it depending on where we go. So like that's as far as it's gonna go here. It's then gonna go around this guy, this, and I'll do this, okay. Yes, Mallorca had such a beautiful pastel kind of vibe. Again, the wedding was just insane. It was so, so pretty. My friends who got married love this architect, and the wedding was at one of his buildings, and they actually stayed there, which was really cool. And then all of her friends, pretty much all of her friends stayed in the same hotel, and it was, oh, that was very close. It was an old house, like a palace that was converted into a hotel, and so it had this gorgeous pool and all these really cool rooms, and every area was different, and it was stunning, and I just loved being in such a nice place. I felt so lucky. So, and I'd met a few of the people who were attending before. She was a friend from high school, and she actually lives in San Francisco, and so she comes to LA pretty often for work, and so I get to see her, and through her I met a few of the people who were at the wedding. And so we kind of built a squad, and it was really fun, new and old friends. Yeah, next time I do this, I think I want to have bigger spaces or a smaller brush. The thing with a smaller brush though is it takes forever, which is fine, but it's not fine if you're really excited to have your tikka masala eggs soon, aka me. Oh, that's not really in frame. Let's go here. So yeah, the Friday we all had this dinner at a restaurant, and I do not eat shellfish, and they had asked our dietary restrictions and stuff beforehand. It makes me nauseous because I had a really bad shrimp incident once when I was younger, and I just can't seem to get past it. And so everyone had this kind of mussel and shrimp appetizer, and they gave me a huge ball of burrata on this like delicious peas and pesto bed. I was so happy. It was so yummy. That was my highlight of that night. And then there were speeches. I love the speeches at weddings. It's one of my favorite parts. People are always like, oh, I don't want them to be too long or whatever. I'm like, what? I flew to this country to celebrate your love. I want to hear everything you have to say. Spare no details. So I just sat back full of burrata and listened, and I had a really nice time. There was a flamenco dancer and this dude playing guitar, and it was really, really fun. Then the next day, we just chilled by the pool. It's fantastic. Got my tan on. The Spanish sun is unreal, and I read by the pool. I listened to music. that's it really. And then we got ready and went to the wedding at the place where she was staying. And it was so pretty. We kept getting pictures and then we'd be like, okay, let's go, you know, get a drink or whatever. And then we'd be like, wait, we gotta get a picture here. And it was really funny. We're all kind of laughing at ourselves about that, but that was the reality of the situation. But it was so beautifully laid out, and it was one of those weddings where every detail was just so thought out, and I don't know, it was insane. Like, we get to the table and we have our menus, had our names on them so you know where you're sat. Oh, and her tables were named after her dogs, the family dogs. And so I was on the croissant table, I think, which was so cute. Sorry, gotta focus there. This one's a bit random, just like going around this shape, I guess. I don't really know what we're doing here. And anyways, under the menus and plates, they hand wrote a card for every single person who attended. And the cards were sourced like from different places. They'd clearly been collecting them for a really long time. Like, my card had different artists on it. Like, I actually think it was maybe cats kind of drawn by different artists, like in those styles. Bit of me, obviously. And then my friend who sat next to me is a pilot, and her card had a plane on it, and it was just so cute. And then they basically wrote out why they were excited that we were there and stuff. I was like, you had this whole wedding to plan and you had the time to thank each of us. It was absurd. Also, the parents spoke, and her parents just love her so much, and it was just so cute to see. I was just like exploding with love. So that was nice. And then we danced, and the DJ was insane. Like, they were mixing like, what's that song? Disturbia with Levels, and just all these nostalgic songs that we were like, whoa, what is going on? And I said to Allison, I was like, I love your DJ. And she goes, thanks, I picked every single song. I was like, great, good job. Okay, now we're on our last wing. Here's how it's looking. Quite cool, right? I like it. This looks a bit like stained glass or like a cathedral buttresses in some way. Then, can you see if I have my hand here? I hope so. So then that was the Saturday. Then on the Sunday, I love a Sunday morning after the wedding. Not morning, but like, it was actually kind of 10 a.m. because I had a flight to get to, but a bunch of us were sat at breakfast just like debriefing, and I love that part so much. And then I got my flight to Nice, and Mel picked me up. If you saw the video I made of the baby book, this was the baby and the mom that I was mentioning. So Mel is my bestie from college, and she had a baby in February called Sasha, who's unreal. And while I was in the neighborhood, I thought I would go meet her. So I spent a couple days with them at their beautiful house in South France. And I also did a lot of tanning there, hung out with the baby. I am pretty close with her family, and so we would have dinners, played some games, and her sister has a 1-year-old baby too, and so it's very baby house, which is not the vibe that I am used to because I live alone with 2 cats, and it's just a different energy, obviously, and so it was cool to step into her life. I love doing that, just like kind of getting a taste of something else. I think it keeps things fresh. And I hadn't seen her in quite a while, honestly. Probably like, oh no, I saw her last summer. But still, that's a while. And so we caught up on a million things. I literally had a list of notes on my phone of things to talk to her about. And so the first night we went out into town, had to have a sip of water, and we went to this, it was like the cutest town. I don't really want to say the name because it's a bit invasive of her privacy. With this little French town square, and we had this delicious tasting menu dinner at a restaurant that her boyfriend's friend owns. And so I got to meet them, and there was it was outside kind of in the town square, like on the cobblestones. And the restaurant had a dachshund who just kind of patrolled the patio and like would hang out with other dogs who were at the restaurant. And it was so cute. I was like, this is great. I like it never. And the baby came everywhere with us. She's such a good baby. She only cries if she is hungry or tired. And so she came to dinner, and that was lovely. And then I won't give you a whole play-by-play because I don't know if that's very interesting, but we also went into Cannes. I went shopping. My dream situation is that in spring, every year, I go with an empty suitcase to the south of France, and then I get my summer wardrobe. Would be ideal. That is not quite what happened because I had an extremely full suitcase, and in this fantasy of mine, I have a limitless credit card. Didn't have that. But I could pretend for a little sort of moment. I got a few cute bits that I just couldn't go home without. Closing my suitcase was so painful, you guys. And I had to close it so many times this trip because I was in so many different places. Anyways, got a few little things. We went for dinner in Cannes one night, and it was, the festival was happening. And so everyone was dressed really beautifully. Like there was loads of black tie and all these Frenchmen walking around in black tie. I was just like, this is my dream situation. I was like sat with my drink outside at one point. We're just watching everyone pass. And I was like, this is quite nice that you live here. She's like, yeah, it's nice. So that was funny. And I love the architecture in, well, I guess Cannes is a city, like towns or areas like this. And so my reference imagery folder is just filling up. Can't wait to use all those. And it was just very chilled. Yeah, I just kind of channeled that I was stepping into her life, which I haven't really experienced this, but I feel like maybe this will help somebody. Is I read somewhere that the best way to, if you kind of don't really get along with, not get along with your parents, but if you kind of have a hard time visiting them because they're so stuck in their ways or whatever, or you just really disagree with what they're doing, you need to just, this person, I forget who it was, sorry, but just suggested, like, you're entering their home, right? And so just kind of step into their way of life for however many days that is. Obviously, if you're there a long time, that's a little difficult, but let's say it's a weekend, and you kind of just surrender to how they live and use it as like a kind of experiment. And you don't need to judge it. You can just be like, oh, this is the time we eat dinner. Okay, interesting. And then, of course, if you need a snack later, you get your snack later. But if kind of back to the life is an open hand, not a fist concept, it's just less stress for everyone, I guess, if you kind of lean in. Like, would you want someone coming to your house and saying, oh, this is not how I would do things, blah, blah. Okay, well, this isn't your house, so you don't have to be here. But obviously with family, you do sometimes need to be there, and I don't know, I think that makes it more peaceful for everyone. And anyways, not that I had any animosity with these people I stayed with on this trip or anything, but I don't know, I just thought of that perspective might be nice to mention. So yeah, I love to just kind of lean in and like play that person's life for a bit. We're making great headway on our little butterfly, aren't we? I don't want to go through there because I think it would be too thin, and I don't have any lines that are that thin, and I think it would look a little odd. So that's not happening. But we're almost done with the inside of this. Oh, let's do this triangle. Anyways, then what happened? I did a Pilates when I was there, all in French. I do not speak French. I know a touch. I learned it in school, and my grandma used to live in the south of France, actually like 20 minutes from where Mel lived, which is so random. So I'm like quite familiar with that area, and it was really nice to be there again. But I have not practiced in so long, and I don't know, but the class was fine. I got through, and obviously it's Pilates, so I could just see what everyone else was doing and copy, but then she'd kind of repeat phrases, and I'd be like, okay, so we're pulsing again. And that was really cool. I tried my best to stay in my workout routine as best I could while I was there. Okay, how are we gonna do this? How do we do this? Oh, it's just one line in there. Okay, I'm gonna try to do that again. So we'll just go through here. Also, the Grand Prix was happening in Monaco, which was just a little city or two over. And I didn't go there, but there was just like kind of a fun energy at the time in that part of the world. So anyways, then had a great little, very, very chilled time with them, hanging out a lot with Sasha, and just kind of like, I think Mel and I get along really well because we can kind of do our own thing. Like there wasn't a pressure to entertain at all. We just could exist and then be like, oh, hey, want to have lunch? Yeah, cool. So that was nice. And then I came back to LA, and my flight back was not so easy, but I had so many flights this trip, and all of them were pretty manageable. So if one wasn't great, I can handle it. It was just, we were packed like sardines, and I had a connection that was, whatever, it's just so boring, but it was just, travel days are sometimes tricky. Gonna get that little bit in there, and I was so hungry. Oh my god. Anyway, then came back, got my Indian food, and we're good. Okay, let's do this little circle. Anyway, so then I came back here, did my laundry, reset, saw Ryan and Parmesan. They were like, oh hey, where are you gone? Didn't even notice. I was like, thanks guys. Also, where are they? I haven't seen them in a while. They were cuddling this morning, which is very odd. They don't really do that, like to each other. I went to the farmer's market, got a few things, and just been chilling since I've been back. So we're now in the stew, and I've done my plan for the week, and so we're just ready to get back to all that. I'm excited. Okay, let's have a little look at this. Part of me wants to just keep it like this, but I think we're gonna Zen Tangle the outside. So let's do this triangle first because I don't like this side, and then I get it out of the way. Good idea. Oh gosh, the focus is off again. I really hope I had it on. I can't edit these because I don't have the computer, and I think it's better to just upload than wait to make sure it's perfect. Let me know what your opinion is on that, but that's what I think I should do. So sorry if it's not perfect, I guess. That is not the theme of what we're doing here. We are excavating a butterfly from this paper, and we are chilling, and then we're going to have lunch, and then we are going to paint the phone piece, and then I should probably vacuum again because it's getting warm and there's cat hair all over my house. And vacuuming happened on Thursday. Oh, well, you don't know what day it is now, but I'm already like, oh my god, you guys. I'm never gonna find a boyfriend this way, am I? I'm kidding. All right, we're gonna do this side too. It's gonna make these nice undulations. This one's probably gonna turn into a point, isn't it? I think so. Anyways, I'm very happy to be home. I mean, I loved my trip, but I think it was a good amount of time. Like, I was ready to come back and be in my routine and see my pets and have all my things. Love my things. This is, let's check where the paper is taking us, shall we? Okay, yeah, so this is gonna be its own little section. This kind of looks like a cat. There's the ears sitting on a template, or not a template, like a throne or something, almost Emperor's New Groovy. And we're just gonna trace this outermost wing line. And at this point, the picture kind of transforms, right? Like before it was a butterfly, and now I see it as like a stone covered area, and then this blank space is like a weird shape that we then need to fill in. So there's a lot of perspective shifts that happen as we do this, which I love. Oh, whoa, that was a lot of paint on the brush. And then I'm gonna pick this up. Oh, we've kind of gone over the edge. Well, that's just a nice surprise for the next one. This kind of looks like a shield. I'm gonna fill that in. Probably just one layer will fill it in, yeah. Oh my gosh, I saw on social media this morning someone making a fresh watermelon matcha, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't actually have a matcha making station. I want to get all that stuff, but I have a tea and coffee station. But whenever I get the matcha station, I will use it all the time, and I'm definitely going to try fresh watermelon matcha. That sounds so nice. I like strawberry matchas, but I've never had a watermelon one. I feel like there's so many ways to get creative with morning drinks. It's just so fun. That's why I like having the station, and then I go and I pretend I'm a barista, and I'm like, what do you want today, Lizzie? Oh, let's try a bit of whatever. Anyways, this morning I had a double latte with cow milk, 100% grass-fed cow milk. Hot latte. Okay, now we have this cool ogive, is what this kind of shape is called. And I'm gonna hold my wrist like this because it's at the bottom of the page, and so I don't have a place to rest it, and that gives me more stability. So let me focus on that for a sec. And when I get to the corner, I like lift my brush off of the page so it's just less pressing on it, just the tip, and that's how we get it to lighten up. I want to do a video on brush technique soon, like how to get straight lines and all that. So at least I think that would be interesting. I'm still kind of trying to work out what people would like to see. I mean, I'll always do these kind of paint and chat Zen Tangles because I think I'd go a bit mad if I didn't make them. They're very calming to me. But then I get a lot of questions on technique and stuff, and I thought it could be fun to address those a bit. So if you have specific questions of stuff you want to know how to do, let me know. Also, please let me know about the templates if you want me to have the first line down or not. I can't make it until I get my computer, so it's probably not going to be for about 2 weeks. I mean, hopefully the computer comes soon, but I need to make it, and that'll all take a bit of time and stuff. So I haven't forgotten, but I'll do that at some point soon. Okay. Now this is kind of closing up. This looks like a curtain at the theater or something. So I like to do the biggest line first because that'll dictate how the shape goes. So I'm going to start with this one, like that, and then I will fill in the sides. So there isn't too much variety between the opacity of this paint because shimmery paints, that's kind of how they roll. And so I think it was a good color to choose for this type of piece because the focus can really be on the pattern and whatever lines emerge. Also, we're getting to the end of the colors, you know, we're going in color order here. I'm not sure what to do next. Should I go color order again, but 2 colors per piece? Sometimes I like just doing one though. But also since I've started this, I've got so many new amazing paints that I have more, like I have neons now. I kind of want to do those, and so they won't be in color order, but I guess that doesn't matter. I don't know. Let me know what you think I should do, because I'll definitely do multicolored ones in here now, but I still want to have single colored ones, so I don't want that to be the rule. You know? Let me know what you think. Okay, Now let's have a look at this edge. Wow, looking cool. Kind of hard to see the butterfly now, right? Let's see where, okay, so this, oopsie daisy, this goes off the edge, and this, we could fit one in there. So this curve and wave is gonna be one shape for one line, and then it's gonna turn into two. So let's tackle those. Oh, also my friends are visiting LA right now. They're three sisters. One of them lives here. She goes to USC. One of them, and then the other two live in Bombay. And they used to live in the States. My friends from college. And they miss Trader Joe's so much. And so yesterday we gardened, and then we went to Trader Joe's and we made like a tapas dinner of all the just kind of things they wanted to try. So we had like the tikka masala samosas, we had these Brazilian bread rolls. Now we have two sections, so let's do this one first. We had, oh gosh, what else? They had some shrimp something or other that I obviously did not try. And it was really fun. We just kind of ate those and we rated them, and that was a nice little excursion. And we walked to the Trader Joe's in my neighborhood, so I got to show them where I live and everything, and we had loads of fun. And I have lots of memories with them, and so we kind of just like rehashed our memories, and I updated them on my life, they updated me on their lives. I'm definitely like a in-person catcher-upper. I don't really enjoy texting about stuff because I don't know, just really drains me. And then I don't mind a FaceTime, but I don't know. I have to be in the right mood. So, some fluff right there. So it was really nice to just like do that in person. And so that was my dinner last night, if you were wondering. So now we're gonna close out this little corner. I love the corners because there's so much of the deckled edge. I kind of like this concept where there's just one big shape in the middle. What else could I do with this concept? Maybe like a tiger or something. Or Ryan, that would be great. Okay, let's see where, now this would want to start here. And then here, probably here. So I'm doing that just so I don't go on to the next page. And then it's the exact same color we're using, so it'll totally disappear into the piece, so don't need to worry about that. Standing out. Oops, I totally went past it. Okay. Now we have this top section as one, as one main bit. I'm gonna zoom out a touch so we can watch this go down together. I'm gonna start at this curve. Is this a good, maybe I should go down like that. I haven't quite mastered the whole filming of it all yet, have I? Anyways, down like this. And up the antenna. Is it an antenna or does it have a different word? You know what I love? Butterfly pavilions. I think they're so fun. They just land on you. What? We're gonna go around. Oh my God, cat hair. We're just gonna ignore it, keep going, and then once we reach a good stopping point, we can take that away. Especially with a circle, once you're in a good groove, I don't really like to pick up the brush unless I have to, because it can be hard to connect and then get that same situation, you know? This is kind of giving me alien vibes. Okay, and then I'm gonna start from the bottom because that feels best to me. Make my way up and connect. And then, because this is just a small bit, I'm gonna do that after I started the big line. Now I'm holding my arm like this over here because it's again off the paper. And I'm gonna connect and pull it across like that. Oh, well, whatever. And then we're gonna do the same. I kind of then like to start from the top once I'm already up here, even though I have to go top up my brush anyway, so I could start wherever, just to see what feels best. And then it makes it a little different each time, so keeps me entertained. And we're gonna go round. Boom. So I'm gonna try and upload this right after I finish while I'm having my lunch because I wasn't able to post my Friday video because I need to edit it on the computer. But I haven't really uploaded directly from my phone, so I hope it works. But if you're seeing this on Monday evening, then it worked. Oh. Oh well. It's interesting how every part of the painting kind of has a different feeling to me. Like the insides felt much more, what's the word, ancient, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Now this has created like a little dagger almost, so we can go ahead and fill that in because this gap is too small to make it a big thing, if you kind of know what I mean. So, boom, boom. That's nice. Can this go up anymore? A little. This kind of looks like eyes or like two pom-pom flowers. So we're still gonna have one line. That's one line, and then it's going to split up into boom and boom is my prediction. So let's go from this side. Oh, there's a lot on the brush. I'm gonna take some of that off so we don't go crazy and spill anywhere. I made it this far. It's also fun to notice how when the paint is wet, it's so much darker. And then it dries, and it's kind of a mystery at what shade it'll dry because it really depends on what ratio of water and pigment I had, which just kind of depends on what I pressed on that time. And again, there's not too much difference, but like see how this is lighter than this, for example. It's all just, again, good to observe. And I like to think of myself as having a bubble around me, and the bubble's quite tight. It's just like an inch around my body, I would say. And in that bubble is super safe and calm and protected, and I don't have to let anything into that bubble that I don't want. So if someone says something mean, oh, someone commented on one of my shorts the other day, "This is dumb." I was like, okay. Like that, I'm not gonna let that into my bubble because why? I don't know that person and it's not dumb, so okay. So, but if you were to let that into your bubble, I feel like it could make you really frustrated, and stuff like my friends, I will let into my bubble, but you don't have to put everything in. So anyways, back to what we were saying earlier about going into Okay, then this is the end of this one. I think let's close this out before moving on to here. Going to your parents' home or someone where you just cannot understand how they live that way. Or like being in a new city or whatever, if something rubs you the wrong way, it doesn't have to penetrate all the way into your safe space. It can just be more of a like, you are in your bubble, you are fine, you are doing you, and then you can see it outside. Interesting, noted. I'm gonna not take that into my bubble. And I forget why I brought that up right now. Something about, oh, I remember, like if in this piece something doesn't go exactly the right way, like look at these flicks I made down here. It just kind of happened. We can go a bit closer. Let's do that. Can we? Yeah. You can be selective about what is let in, right? And obviously this takes practice. It's not just like one day, oh, I can totally choose what upsets me and what doesn't. Like, you really can't control what upsets you sometimes. It's a practice thing. So I'm not gonna let those flicks into the bubble, but what I will let into the bubble is how this process makes me feel, which is calm and nice, and I'm really enjoying exploring a new type of Zen Tangle, this big central shape, and just learning from this experience. So for example, next time I would do bigger gaps, or that was a tight one. A thinner brush I think would be fun to try. But if I filmed a thinner brush video of this, it would be like double what's going on. What's it, an hour and 11 minutes now? Yeah, that would be quite long. So I probably won't do that, but maybe I'll do it in my own time. And yeah, so you can take bits of something and let it into the bubble. Don't have to take everything. When I first learned about this concept, I didn't create it, by the way, but I think it's just kind of a common concept. I don't know if there's one particular person to attribute it to. If there is, let me know. But my thoughts were like, okay, nice theory, but stuff is just gonna piss me off. And the whole point is, it really doesn't have to. You just have to train yourself to not let it in. And then also not get angry at yourself when you let it in the first time or whatever. Like, nothing is perfect right away, but I really feel happier when I have this bubble mindset, especially when I don't agree with someone or something. So let's do this little circle, what the heck, triangle. And then we're left with this last section. And I can't wait to reveal how it all looks. I really like this one. Really like this new paint. Really like being back in my apartment. Whoa, wiggly. Really like my, really like what I'm gonna have for lunch. Really like being home. It's a good day. It's actually, it's fine. I'm so tired today. I think maybe the jet lag's catching up to me or something, but I woke up at like 6 maybe. I mostly slept through the night. And then when I wake up, I usually lie there with Parmesan for like an hour and just hang out with her. Ryan's there too, but he doesn't really join us at this part of the day. And then I do my journal and whatever. And so I did all that. And then Parmesan was being really cute. And so I cuddled her. And then I got really drowsy and I fell asleep again until like 11. So that's not my vibe. I'm usually kind of out the bed by 7:30 at the latest. And so it kind of threw me off a little, honestly. It's a holiday today, so it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird when you don't start your day the way you'd really wanted to, but it doesn't mean we can't recover and have a great rest of the day. I also like the theory that the day's in different quarters. So like pre-breakfast, breakfast to lunch, lunch to dinner, after dinner. And if you had a bad morning or whatever, you can have an intermission and you can kind of reset and be like, okay, well the next quarter, it's like having a huddle at a sports match. That's not what it's called. A halftime talk. You know what I mean? Actually, let's go over this here. And just rejudging. And so I was kind of like, all right, well, this part of the day is gonna go to plan from now on. Hopefully, we'll see. Okay. Let's go up here. Whoa, cool. I'm into it. Here's our paints that we used. Thank you so much, Brighter Day Pigments. Love. Here we go. I like this a lot. I really feel like an archaeologist. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does. Like now we can look in and see what kind of shapes we could find. Like this totally looks like a cathedral or something, or like fingers in a tiramisu, those biscuits. This kind of looks like a train with wheels under. This kind of looks like a flower with all these petals. And then this is a great point to stop and reflect and think about how when we started, the butterfly shape itself was really irregular, like it fit in the page. And if the page hadn't constricted me, I would have, or if I'd planned better, it would have been more symmetrical. And it doesn't really matter because, I mean, now that we've been talking about it, I'm looking at this and I am seeing the butterfly, but in general, it's more about the lines. Like the first thing doesn't matter. And once I feel like this happens, oh, it's kind of cool this way too. Once you get past the first bit, you can just keep it pushing a lot in life, I feel. Anyways, that's the butterfly Zen Tangle. Glad I got this idea out. It was like knocking on the front of my brain for a while, but I knew I wanted to do it in this book, and I haven't had this book with me for the last month. Anywho, let's take these out. I'm gonna let it dry while I have lunch. Hopefully upload it right now, and see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, please, and I'll see you later.